this is your first encounter with Women in Tandem, we're a community interest company. Our main aim is to support and empower women to ride bikes. We do this through Dr. Bike, so we do free bike repairs in the community. We do this through bike maintenance classes for women. We do group rides for women. We offer an affordable bike repair service. And now we have built this fully functional workshop. We can do so much more with that space. Just to introduce ourselves, for those of you that don't know, my name's Lily. I'm a director at Women in Tandem.
My name's Steph. I'm the mechanic at Women in Tandem.
And a director, yes?
Sorry, and a director. I sometimes forget that a little bit.
My name's Rachel. I'm volunteering with Women in Tandem. I'm also a director, which sounds
Claim that word.
Yeah.
I'm Aman. I'm also a director and was one of their first cyclists on their group rides. So yes.
Sorry, I'm awkwardly I'm Charlotte, and I'm also a director, and support these guys with what they're doing. And I'm one of the right leaders, so I think I've recognised a lot of you. But sorry if I'm awkwardly not, because it looks really different when you don't wear your helmet.
I'm just going to give you a little bit of housekeeping. So if you don't know already, the toilet's just as you came in over there. Hopefully you've all had lots of coffee and cake, and do grab more at the end because we don't want any left over. You're also free to leave at any point. So we've got quite a few speakers today, which I'm super excited about, but I totally get that if you've been dragged along by your friend and don't want to stay till 4, you don't have to.
Have you dragged friends along?
I have dragged a good friends along, yeah. I haven't kind of given people an exact time limit for speaking, but we're thinking that I'll finish around 2:33, and then there'll be lots of time to chat as well. And I just want to give you a little bit of background about Women in Tandem as well. Can you change the slide, please, Kelly? So personally, I love cycling, and cycling brings me a lot of happiness. It makes me feel free, and initially thought I wanted to help other people experience that freedom and that joy that I get from cycling. So that's kind of the start of Women in Tandem. And I just think there's something really powerful about being a woman and using your body to get somewhere else. And it just makes you feel really free, makes you feel empowered, gives you confidence in many other areas of your life as well. And I want other people to have the opportunity to experience that kind of adventure. Unfortunately, cycling is one of the most discriminatory industries, and we want to reverse that gender imbalance within cycling and help break down those additional barriers that women are facing, so that they have a space where they feel more comfortable and supported within their cycling journey. And we're really excited to welcome you to this new premises. And I think it's really important to say as well that this is your space too. We've created this space, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without the support of so many of you here and the support of so many people within our community. And we very much want you guys to take ownership of this space too, and help us on that journey, giving your feedback, and we can kind of keep building and developing and making it the right space for everyone. And then also we're all here today because we want to make Nottingham and beyond a greener, a happier, a healthier city, and this workshop is one way to do that. So yeah, thank you for being here and your support with that already. Next slide. Oh.
This is not my fault.
Oh, is that it? Yes. Oh no, that's not it. But we can go back a little bit. Big secrets. Sorry, Rob. I'm going to just hand over to Steph now to talk a little bit about the history of where we started from.
Yeah, so Women in Tandem first started in a garden, so we started doing repairs from a back garden. We did call-outs to your houses, and we kind of began to realise that actually we wanted to do more than just repairs. We wanted to do something that enables the community to join in with us. So we became a CIC, applied for funding, and then started to do Dr. Bikes during the lockdown. It was kind of like the only thing that we could do during the lockdown because, the lockdown. And then as the restrictions started to lift, we started to do the classes and also the led rides as well. And as time kind of passed on throughout the year, we realised that there was a huge demand for the classes and the Dr. Bikes, and actually we needed somewhere that was warm, wasn't weather dependent as such, somewhere where if we dropped,
You're in the rain.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was there too. I was taking the photo.
And there were times where you drop screws on the grass and you'd be like, where has it gone? Like, no idea, not a clue. But so we realised that actually we needed a space, we needed to expand, we needed somewhere where we could progress onto more detailed classes on different areas of the bike instead of just the basic, and just somewhere to store all of our stuff, and here we are.
Perfect. And then I think, if we could go to the next slide. Oh, so this is just our very first ride. I think some of you came on that as well. Charlotte, you're taking the picture. We've got Aman as well. And this is our most recent ride. It hasn't been that it's just got sunnier each ride. It's just a coincidence.
This one was taken, I remember it very distinctly, on the evening of the local elections, because we had glorious weather, and then about 2 minutes after we finished, it absolutely threw it down, and I trudged through the little church hall, just leaving like this trail of water as I went to vote.
And there will be many more of these. We're not going to all of the info and stuff that we do is on Eventbrite and on our flyers. So if you're new and you're not quite sure how to get involved, just grab a flyer on your way out and send us a message after, or come grab any of us guys after the talk, and we'll tell you how to get involved. And then the next slide, please.
How long are the group rides, and could you take kids?
Yes, you can take your kids, and they vary. So they vary from 3 to 5 miles, and then sometimes we do longer ones at 10, 15, 20 miles that are on a Saturday morning.
We'll always put it in the title, who to bring and how long it's going to be.
Is this the one of me having coffee underneath the bench?
Yeah. A lot of coffee was consumed in the process of building this. These are just some pictures of us building the workshop. So it was done by me and Steph and Christy, who I don't think Christy here. Christy's not here, who volunteered to help us build it. So literally every screw, every bit of paint has been done by us.
Frustratingly, towards the end. Frustratingly.
So it's almost straight. Better if it's not quite straight. So I think now as well, Steph and I have got a few thank yous to say to some people who have specifically helped us on the way. I have had to write these down so I don't forget people. I did want to thank Christy, who isn't here, but we could not have done this without him. And Steph and I have now realised that we can actually build anything with some screws, drill and teeth and wood.
We started with the table, it was a bit wobbly at the
I
start.
don't know if you've seen it in
Put a
there.
few extra planks underneath just to level it out there.
I also wanted to thank Tom Barber, is he here? He's not here. He for the initial inspiration and for believing in Steph and I from the beginning.
I wanted to thank Park Tool and Madison for kitting out the workshop and the tools. I mean, they've done an excellent job, and we need them.
We do. Big thank you to Johnny Stevens. Is Dean Monks here? I wasn't sure if he was coming. So he's the timber merchant for Johnny Stevens. They donated all of the wood to build this workshop and delivered it on a van outside for us for free because they wanted to support the work that we're doing, which is really wonderful, and we couldn't have done it without them.
Our kit, Cole Stocker for the £500 towards the workshop. Thank you very much. Muchly appreciated.
We've got funders who fund our regular projects. So we've got Lauren from Cycling UK. Yay! Like the UK have given us a lot of money over they've not told me to say this, but they've funded our project right from the very beginning. And then we've also got This Girl Can, I don't think Loz is here. We've got Castle Cavendish, who's given us a lot of money for our Dr. Bike projects.
The Women's Centre again for donating some money towards this event. Thank you very much again.
Yay.
Hopefully for a good future partner working future.
We've got our volunteers who essentially were friends and family of all of ours who we kind of roped in. Don't know if they were volunteering or not, or they just felt like they had to, but so I'm going to thank a few. We've got Nick, who is Charlotte's partner, and he has done a lot of painting, and he's designed our poster, and he's photographed loads of our events. I want to thank my partner Niku, who designed this space that we're in right now, and she gave up our shed and garden for 2 years while we put all the bike stuff in there and did repairs in the garden, so big thank you there. I want to thank my mum and my dad for also giving lots of time and ferrying us around in their car and just kind of being there at the end of the phone when we need anything. I want to thank some of my friends. There's my friend Emma, who helped choose the name Women in Tandem. Luckily we didn't go with our initial thought, which was Sappho Cycles, and maybe she'll kill me for mentioning that, but that's kind of a little bit niche. And then there's also my friend Alex, who has designed our logo and all of the graphics for Women in Tandem.
I just want to thank, who do I want to thank? I've forgotten already. That one. I want to thank my partner Andy, who's not actually here at the minute, but for taxiing us around, buying the paint, bringing the stuff that we had in the shed here, bits and bobs and stuff. Rudy for buying us a drill, because without his drill we could not have put this workshop together. And Carla and Ben, who helped us paint this room, which they're also not here at the minute.
And then we've also got some of our workshop volunteers. I think we've got Patricia somewhere here. Patricia, where are you? Patricia started doing you're going to hear more from Patricia later, don't worry. But she started coming to our maintenance classes enough so that she can now volunteer in our classes and help other people learn bike maintenance as well. So big thank you to her. I also want to thank my business mentor, Davina. Where are you? We started Women in Tandem. I got some help from the Princess Trust and was allocated to Vina, and she helped me every month work out, offload and work out what I should do next. So thank you for doing that. Also want to thank Kamut and Kelly, who you're going to hear from later as well. Kamut, you can plan really cool rides, so all of our route planning is done on Kamut, and you can see these little frames at the back, which are all the rides we've ever done.
Which are amazing. Thank you.
I'm sorry, you were meant to say that.
It's fine. It's all right.
And
less talking for me.
we also want to thank our board of directors. So you've already heard from Aman, Rachel, and Charlotte, and Steph and I, for just putting so much time and effort and thought and enthusiasm to all of the work that we're doing and turning up to every directors meeting. And helping with that problem solving too.
And then we also want to say thank you to everyone that has ever commented or been on, has an online social presence, commented, liked or shared our posts, participated in our Dr. Bikes, our events, our rides, even just popped in, had a chat with us. Just thank you, because without you lot, we wouldn't be here. So thank you. Yeah.
And then I've got just a funny little video to show you guys.
Oh no.
Next slide. That's going to kill me.
This is a bit where I hide behind you, Rich.
Oh, let's slide again. Oh. Will this play? This is more symbolic. And then I think the last slide is just...
At one point where he was like, right straight, Steph.
Yeah, I was like, straight. Trying to. So this we're gonna leave up after everyone's spoken as well. But this is how you can find us. But you're already here, so you've done that part already. If you want to help or support our work, you can donate. You could donate money. We've got donation bucket there, and we've got one by the refreshments. That will help us really sustain this workshop and keep doing what we're doing. You could donate an old bike, and we can refurbish it, use it in one of our projects, or sell it to fund the work we're doing. You could use our repair service. I think people sometimes get a bit confused about whether we fix bikes that belong to men. We definitely do, and we would really welcome your allyship in giving giving money and repairs and work to support the rest of our work. Tell your mates about what we're doing, bring people along to the rides, and keep inspiring other people to ride bikes. But yeah, I think that's it. Now we're going to hand over to some speakers. So first up we have Aman, who's from the Board of Directors. And yeah, go for it. Thank you.
Just want to say thank you all, everyone, for coming today. It's amazing to see how much all of you have turned up for, supporting us. It's a great show out, so thank you very much. So just to give you a bit of context, I'll just explain how I came to Women in Tandem. My name's Aman, and just a bit of background. I read English at Leicester University, went on to study law, moved to London, worked in quite a few different companies, and then me and my husband moved back to Nottingham and relocated. And we have 6 children, aged between 12 and 2, keep us quite busy. And since 2010, I've been a full-time mum, looking after these lovely children. So about a year ago, post 2 lockdowns, and having reached the age of 40, having never ridden a bike, I emerged from a sea of nappies and breastfeeding and dummies and curing avocado and banana and whatnot. And sort of absolutely determined to do something about this, about the fact that I couldn't ride a bike. And I'm sure many of the mums in this room probably understand that what I mean when I say that as a mother, you do kind of lose yourself. And you lose the confidence to tackle things that otherwise probably wouldn't have fazed you. And you immerse yourself in this motherhood, but it's exhausting and a rewarding experience at the same time. I think what I'm trying to say is you still sort of need to make that transition from mummy to me, eventually, although it's hard. So I knew Lily for some previous voluntary work, sorry, I'm a bit nervous. I knew her for some voluntary work previously with Imara, and I discovered that she set up Women in Tandem and was initiating some short bike rides, the first one being Collinge Park, a short 5-mile ride. And I was reluctant and a bit nervous and sort of booked myself into this course and didn't want to go. My husband sort of said, no, you've got to go, you've booked yourself into this. My son sat there at the back and said, Mommy, do you need some stabilisers for this? That's a bit of a joke there. I was like, no, Joe, God, I'll be fine. So they all really, really wanted me to learn how to ride a bike and come on some family bike rides. So they were very supportive. And after that first bike ride, I got totally hooked. Never looked back. It was such a wonderful, carefree and warm experience. Honestly, thank you. There's something quite exhilarating and fresh and empowering about just getting on a bike and just moving. And Charlotte, Lily, I think you both led the ride. You were both very supportive. I think I was one of the less confident riders on this ride. And you made sure I was happy and comfortable the whole way around. There was no judgment, there was no competitiveness. It was a safe space. I felt such a huge sense of achievement when I'd finished it. It was just brilliant. And following on from that, I did a 50-mile group ride with them, which was just amazing. My confidence grew. We recently went to Wales and we took the bikes with us, and it was just amazing. It's opened up new possibilities for me, and without Women in Tandem, I would not have been able to share this experience with my children. Just wanted to share a poem by a poet called Rhian which really resonated with me and sort of sums up what I've gained from this experience as well. She's written, after feeling disconnected for so long with my mind and body, they're finally coming back to each other. I think calling it self-care, self-help, or just plain old finding myself. And that first bike ride really just reconnected my innate confidence. And if I could learn how to ride a bike at the age of 40, I could conquer anything. So since that first bike ride in May 2021, I've returned to work in healthcare, I'm studying, I'm doing a London Marathon in October, and I'm learning how to swim. All because these lovely women created a non-judgmental, supportive space for me to thrive in. And I think that's what's so powerful about it. It's been such a pivotal stepping stone in giving me that confidence to get back out there and get those challenges in life and, just keep moving. So it's pushed me out of my comfort zone and I made me believe in myself, so thank you. I feel truly honoured when they've all asked me to become a director. And for the last 3 months, I've thoroughly enjoyed growing with this collective and watching the amazing journey we have undergone. The ideas and vision is so progressive, and I feel proud to be working for a group of women dedicated and on a mission to equip other women with the skills and knowledge to cycle and handle any mechanical issues. So eventually, I think it's what we've sort of talked about preliminary is to sort of go into schools and teach children and girls specifically about, cycling and maintenance and repairs. So starting at grassroots level is a really real catalyst for change, I think. The future for Women in Tandem is exciting, and I just know we're going to break the mould. We look for the women who have less space and strive to listen and act on what they're saying. So, I think it's an exciting time. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much, Women in Tandem. You guys have been great.
Probably known you about a year, and go for it.
All right, good to see everyone, and it's my huge privilege to be here, and really happy to share with you my cycling journey, which is what Lily just said. It has been slightly more over a year, and same as what Aman just said, I got the motivation from during the lockdown, but then before that, I am a student in Cambridge. I'm still a student right now. I've just passed my PhD recently. How much has cycling empowered me during the process? Because for those of you who have studied for, let's say, a postgraduate degree or even a degree before, it's a huge, very difficult journey. And from time to time, I just lack the confidence and even the thinking to go ahead to support myself. So I just want to emphasize how much cycling has brought to me, and it's a huge change during the period. So on the topic of accessibility, which has been mentioned so far just now, and also on all the board, I want to emphasize that Cambridge was such a city that is usually framed as a very cycling-friendly city. I know a lot of people who cycle, and actually literally all my friends and all my professors knew how to cycle, except me. So from time to time, you just felt that kind of subtle exclusion.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of time when I turned down dinner offers, I couldn't attend a lecture because of that distance. Yeah. I've studied in one of the largest college called Homerton, and I'm in the Faculty of Education. And then our school bus did not pass by that college. And it's still not passing by the college right now for some reason that is beyond my imagination. We try to bargain with different people up there who have the control over those decisions. But then they'll be like, well, you could cycle. And I want to emphasize how much that an ableist discourse is given to justify that reason. I mean, for me, I've managed to learn cycling during the lockdown, but I could imagine a lot of people just cannot do it for multiple reasons. And cost is one of the major reasons that kind of disabled us to even access the bike shops. When you go there, people just scare me so much because I did not even know what's wrong with my bike, right? So when they give you some offers, they'll be like, why did you change this and that? They give you a few easily for over £200 sometimes. So I'll be like, well, as a student, maybe I'll have to access other options. So throughout the year, I just cycle by myself, having more or less a very broken bike, as Steph would verify that. And yeah, I got my bike from just Gumtree for like £20, which I'm very happy about that offer. But it was just so dangerous on the road. And although there were very good cycling facilities in the city, but there was no more effort or initiative to empower me to actually understand the way to cycle. And also during lockdown, there was just no one around. So I couldn't even ask my friends or colleagues to understand how that thing works. So I'm also very proud to share that my achievement include getting 4 punctures in a month, falling off my bike for about 3 times in front of a bus, and then also getting some weird problem with my bike here and there, especially when the weather was really bad. So I'm very happy that I've overcome those barriers because of their help. And then I moved to Nottingham in August. And since then, I'm quite proud of myself to be able to complete some of those journeys with the group. It has been a very life-changing moment to realize, wow, I could make a trip with Charlotte to Newstead Abbey, which is further than the Sainsbury's I could go to, right? On my Google Map timeline, it still showed me that the most journeys I've made to was a 10-minute trip just to Sainsbury or Asda. And I'm very proud that I could make those trips with more miles. And then I'm also very inspired to share, in the coming year, I hope to gather more miles and also to further develop my cycling skills. And last but not least, thank you so much for every effort and initiatives run by Women in Tandem among all the other cycling efforts in Nottingham. I think as a city, you guys are really doing very great to empower students, peers, and everyone alike. And so I really salute you to all the efforts you've contributed in one way or another. Looking forward to seeing you all in our upcoming trips. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patricia. That was really powerful. And next up we have the GB cycling team. We are so excited to have you guys here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
We thought for this bit, we'd do like a bit of an intro and then maybe a Q&A. So we've got some questions, but then if anyone else wants to start thinking of questions to ask these wonderful women as well, that would be great. But would you like to introduce yourselves first?
Yeah, of course. I'm Rhian. I grew up near Newport Velodrome, which is how I got into the sport, and pretty much got picked up by British Cycling when I was about 16 and moved up on the pathway since then, and I've just recently gone on to senior academy to join these 3 ladies.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm from Wales, and my nearest velodrome is in Newport as well, same as Rhian. And I started cycling when I was about 8, and then I got into the track when I was 10, and I did like endurance, like cyclocross, all of that, and then I came into sprint, and then I got into the GB Academy when I was 16, I got into Junior Academy, and then went on to Senior Academy, and now, yeah, I live in Manchester now and just train every day with these guys, and yeah.
I'm Lusia. I'm from up near Glasgow and Paisley. I started cycling when I was like 6 years old through my dad because he just loved it, and then I've pretty much ridden since then. Started sprint cycling in 2016 and then similar, and when I was 18 I came onto the Great Britain Under 23 Academy, so yeah, we live and train full time in Manchester now.
I'm Lauren. I'm from near Inverness, which is like the north of Scotland. I started cycling when I was about 16, 17. I did a talent transfer that English Institute of Sport did, so I moved from athletics over to sprint cycling. So probably started at that age, and then I got onto GB in start of 2020, and then yeah, moved down to Manchester as well.
Thank you. We've got a few questions. Rachel, do you want to go first, and then we'll, if you guys start thinking as well.
Yeah, so I guess what I wanted to ask you guys, because we've heard from 2 people, you know, talking about what Women in Tandem has done for them, and a big part of that is the fact that they're riding with a group, and there's a sense of community. So, you know, at the other end of the scale, you're sort of performance cyclists, but what does being part of a team mean for you guys in relation to your cycling profession?
I mean, I think it means absolutely everything really, because like the sense of achievement when you ride, me and Emma ride for Wales together in the team sprint, and the sense of achievement when I ride in the team sprint with Emma and the other girl we ride with, Lowry, it's just phenomenal compared to when you win on your own. It's a bit lonely. It's not as fun. when I win with Emma and Low, we get to chat about it and enjoy it together, and that's like that feeling of enjoying performing together is really great. And I think that's the biggest reason why I enjoy sprint cycling. Probably is that feeling when you win with others. Like, we were on the podium, all four of us together at senior nationals, and it was just the best feeling to be on the podium with your mates.
Just like training together and like working every day and like trying to motivate each other to just be our best, and then when it all comes together as a team and we do our best, is really amazing. It's like just such a great sense of achievement, and it's really nice to share that with everyone. So yeah, definitely team is really big.
I think if you go the other way, it's nice to share the big moments with each other, but I think in elite sport it doesn't always go well, and I think there's times when like you're looking to like you feel really upset and really down, but you have everyone else around you to build you back up and tell you that it's going to be, you'll get your moment another time. So having a group of girls that are strong for themselves but also strong for each other and can be a big part of the team, I think is a massive factor.
No, I'd just say that. Yeah, I think, like, kind of like Lucia said, it can be quite difficult day to day sometimes. So having, like, you're not alone doing it, they have a team who are going through the exact same thing, they feel tired as well, you kind of, like, lift each other up. It's important.
Do you want to?
Can I just,
got some people
you're
outside.
going to hate me for this, but Christy, come in. You missed it earlier, but this is the guy who helped us build the workshop. Come in, sit down. Does anyone else have a question for these women?
Because you do it all day, every day, what do you do for fun with cycling? What's like your thing you love to do?
I mean, we do, some of us are in like uni as well. I do open uni, I study social care there, and like we do that, and then to be honest, we just kind of kick about Manchester, go for coffee, 24/7.
And big cafe culture.
Yeah, like
big cafe culture.
How many
Lots of
cafes we
cake.
can. Yeah, lots of cake and coffee, and then I don't really, we just kick about. We're always training, so I feel like we only have like the odd rest day where we probably either lay in bed or just go out for food.
Yeah, I say my life literally consists of like training, doing uni, and then just lying on the sofa resting.
Yeah. I think it's nice when we have a chance when we can go back to back home properly, because then you have a chance to sort of when I'm back home I go on like quite a few walks with my family and stuff like that. You do sport away from sport is what I quite enjoy doing outside of cycling. Do you think it just reminds me that other stuff exists that's not on your bike? you get quite this quite almost narrow-minded little world where it's just you and your bike and the gym occasionally, and that's kind of like your entire little life for like a month, and then you go home and you're like, oh wow, like other things exist, and it's like just other stuff really, I guess.
Yeah, I enjoy baking, but it's really hard because we get so tired from like training and the whole mindset of it. So yeah, I try to bake sometimes. Might start uni, I don't know yet, but yeah, definitely it's just us and our bike basically.
Worst ways to live.
I've got another question, which I've got a reason for asking it, but obviously, you guys this is what you're doing for a living, but is track cycling something that anybody could do?
Definitely,
yeah.
I think
100%. Yeah. I think it can. I don't think it's like. I think it can come across as a bit scary. I know when I first went to the track and looked up and I saw these people, mainly men typically as well, whizzing around, and I was like, 14-year-old me was pretty scared. But I think actually once you get into the track cycling community, it's quite a friendly place, and I know in places in London do it really well. It's just like you have this kind of like really open space and anyone can go and try, and it's kind of like it can be a sport for everyone, absolutely. Like I think anyone can enjoy track cycling. It doesn't have to be just performance, you can do it for fun and fitness as well.
Yeah, most velodromes as well have bikes that you can, so you don't have to like turn up with all your own equipment. They've got like the shoes.
You can hire everything. You don't need anything to start.
You do have to be 8 at least years old. And then you can start, but that's literally the only barrier I would say. And then they have these what they call like drop-in sessions or exploring sessions where you can just go hide everything and it's quite accessible if you have a velodrome near you.
Yeah, distance is a big problem. Yeah.
But Derby's pretty close. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wondered what your typical training schedule might look like in a week. Is there a typical week?
Yeah, it can be dependent on, so as sprinters we train in specific, like 3 different blocks, I guess. We have strength, which a lot of that is we're basically just getting the gym 24/7, you know, like 3 days a week with a little bit of bike riding. And we have like our power phase where we'll have a lot of track sessions. We've got like 4 track sessions. And that can kind of like, you know, we'll do like standing starts, or we'll do like a bit of like stuff behind the motorbike on the track as well. And then we have our race block, which doesn't come around too often as a sprinter, but you just go and race pretty frequent. So we're racing we call like a Nations Cup in Glasgow in a few weeks' time. So we're just starting this like power phase at the minute. So yeah.
Sounds intense.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong with your bike, would you know how to fix it, or do you have other people to do that?
We've got mechanics, luckily.
We need to come to a few of these workshops.
Most things as well, because you've been riding for so long, you kind of just pick up how to do certain things. But yeah, we are quite lucky, especially because I did a talent transfer. Some things happen, I've got no idea, but it's lucky because like the mechanic's just down the road. So
I think like little things like we can fix a puncture, but
yeah,
we can get by. Spoil.
Ali? I look at you all and I think you're really inspirational. And so I wonder if you have people who are inspirational to you?
That's actually a good question.
I think I was always inspired. I used to play hockey before I was a cyclist, and I was always really inspired by the Team GB hockey goalkeeper, Maddie Hinch, and because she used to study the attacking styles of the other team, so she'd write it on a water bottle before every match, so that she could then defend from the shots. And I kind of think that kind of commitment to your sport is the kind of commitment I try and aim to have. Because I think if I can be that committed, hopefully I'll gain something out of it. But yeah, I think she was always very inspiring to me.
I like as well Serena Williams, the tennis player. I think taking away from her like achievements as an athlete, I think as a person she's quite like a great person. I think as well as an athlete, especially like the higher up you get, you can do a lot of stuff to create change. And I think even just like little things that she does about like her body image and lots of comments that get said and the way she fights back against that, I think is quite nice and inspirational for other especially girls, like little girls looking up to see her. So I think she's quite like a great person.
I'd say for me it's pretty standard for us, Katie Archibald, just because I grew up pretty much watching her. But I think even now almost as we train frequently enough with her, but actually just seeing a lot of what she also does for women's. We have for example, our team sprint formation, our team formation, they would always call it man 1, you're man 1. And she got really angry, everyone was like, no, it's P, it's person 1, it's person 2, and really transformed that. And
it's
I think,
completely changed.
for the whole, just her saying that and correcting people and saying, no, that's wrong, it's women or it's person, and correcting that, I think she's done a lot for, cycling as a sport, but also just women in sport in general, so, yeah.
I'd say for me, at the start, because obviously I used to be an endurance rider, it was Nicole Cook. But then as I got into sprint, it was more, I didn't really know what sprinting was, I didn't know really anything about it, and then obviously there was Becky James for Wales, and she kind of inspired me to become a sprinter, because typically, I don't know, I just didn't know anything about it, and then I started understanding, we can be sprinters, this is what it's about. So yeah, she definitely inspired me to start being a track sprinter.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Advice would you give for track cycling?
What advice would you give for track?
Start it.
Go for it.
Yeah, I think track cycling, I would say, as Rhian said, it looks really daunting because obviously, the track bikes, they don't have brakes on them. Yeah. The way you brake is literally through your legs and using the track and everything else. And I think the basic advice I would say is keep pedaling if you want to stay up. But I think just starting it, for us, we've all come to it. We've all come to it at some point, and there's just always been something there that's just made us stick at it. Her and I, we've had quite similar. We did every branch of cycling, and sprinting just seems to be the one. I think it's it's fast and it's
It's
tactical
all
and it's
simple.
nice. Yeah.
In a way, in like a.
And I think I think I would literally just say start it, try it out.
Like
see
find
how
a
you enjoy
local
it.
club like near you, and then just go down to a velodrome. They'll get you a bike, and then just
And just keep enjoying it as well. Don't ever let it become a chore, because it shouldn't be a chore at any point. It's not a chore for me, and it's my job, so that's quite nice. But yeah.
Well, if you ever did want brakes on the bike, you know what to
Can we have a trip to the velodrome?
Absolutely. I don't know if it was kind of a bit of a secret, but we have got one organised. Where we're going to ride, I don't know if it will be you guys, but some women from the team, we've got a ride out, we're going to ride out to Derby with some of the Team GB cyclists and then get the train back.
You guys,
that'd be great.
I think
Yeah, no, absolutely should come along to the velodrome. I think so.
But you can come watch it anyway, like in terms of our sessions, the stands are pretty open. We're there Monday to Thursday most of the time.
Coming at some point Monday to Thursday, you'll probably catch us.
I think we've got time for one more question, so just bring.
So I just wanted to ask, like, some of the speakers and most of us, I think, we took to cycling because we felt we were lost in what we were doing and we wanted to find time for ourselves and then be us. And you're all very young ladies and you do this all the time, which is not mostly like other girls or men, boys of your age. So I want to know, how do you manage that side of things, like you're dedicated or not doing things that your age group does, but you dedicate all your time to this? So it must get hard, but how do you manage? How do you stay motivated?
I think the hardest part was, I would say, I think I'm not over it, but you kind of reach a part where it's like, this is my job now and this is what I really want to do with my life. But I would say through school, especially high school, was the hardest part, because everyone's, people are finding out what partying is and, going out, just kind of, I think you're grown up and you're getting to the stage of like, you want to reach that level of independence. And I think that was, for me personally, like, the hardest bit. I always knew I wanted to do cycling. But I think I've recently found now is like, you can do both. There's a time and a place, there's a time when, if you want to go out and go partying, like, okay, you do it after you've raced, you don't do it 2 weeks before, for example. But I think, like, that's something that personally I struggled with, is like my life has just always been, as in I've been riding since I was a kid. Everything was just straight, I'm going to go to the Olympics and I'm going to win, and that's it. And it's like, well, you're not going to get to the Olympics if all you're going to do is every day turn up, ride a bike, go home and sit on the sofa. Like,
it's like finding the right balance.
Balance of it.
I think as well, because similar to Lusia, because I found when I started uni, everyone's going out for freshers, and I was like watching them on like Snapchat and Instagram and stuff. But I think it's as well, like, I find having a goal in mind for a competition. So like Lucia said, we've got the Nations Cup, like a World Cup in Glasgow in a couple of weeks. And then you kind of so focus because you really want to do well at that. But then you, like Lucia said, it's the balance of after that we can go out if we want or go do whatever. So I think it's like the feeling of like when you win, like Rhian said as well about when we were on the podium at the British Champs. It's like the feeling of that. I think you kind of have it in your head. So then it doesn't seem like that big of a sacrifice, like going out and getting drunk, say, but to be in the feeling of like winning a medal. So
I think I agree with Lucia. The hardest part for me was definitely in school. When I was in school, and I was watching a lot of my friends could do a lot more than I could because I was so committed to the sport. But I was helped a lot when I got on to the apprentice programme, which is like British Cycling's under 16 programme, and there's a group of 10 of us, and I just had the best year with that group of people. And I think finding people within the sport who had the same they had the same problems as me, and they had, we all kind of like came together, and I think it really helped being able to just have like a group of people I could share the experience with, rather than just, sort of when you're just sort of going to train on your own and stuff, it's nowhere near as fun as when you're with others. So
that level of dedication and hard work seems really hard, and it's incredible how you guys are so consistent with it. We can take a break and say, I don't want to go to work today, but I'm especially being with that age group, when things can be really tough, I think it's inspiring.
Volunteering your time and coming to see our space and support our work. I'm hoping that from having all these different speakers, you guys are getting an idea that cycling has like so many different avenues. You can come at it from so many different angles and still find ways to enjoy it. Our next speaker is Hayley. So we're in called Stevie. And Hayley has come all the way from London to speak to us about cycling in her life. And can I tell them that you cycle to Australia? Yeah. Hayley cycled from the UK to Australia.
So yeah, obviously my name's Hayley. Some of you may have spotted that I'm deaf, so I'm actually profoundly deaf. So if you ask a question, I might not get it the first time, but yeah, just bear with. Okay, so where did it all begin? So this whole cycling trip, it actually began back at uni. So I had a placement year and I went travelling, not with a bike, just went travelling around Europe. And then I started final year, and then halfway through final year I was like, oh, I really want to do some more travelling when I finish uni. And one of my friends who was like, oh, why don't you do bicycle touring? Because all I was thinking about was like the environmental impact of flying everywhere all the time. So I was like, how can I do this in a better way? So lots of people do backpacking around Europe and get a Euro rail pass, but I wanted to go a bit further afield. So my friend was like, yeah, do bike touring. And that was when the seed was planted. And when I finished uni, graduated, moved to London, and then started working because I knew that I was going to have to build up some money to be able to go. And also get a bike as well. So I got a single speed bike and started commuting to work, to and from work. And then I had a 2-year contract, so I had to keep going to work for 2 years, enjoyed it and everything. In the second year, I was like, right, I need to start preparing for this trip. What do I know about bike? I was like, well, I know how to fix a puncture, but if I'm going to like travel, I need to know a lot more than that. So there's actually quite a similar scheme in London called the London Bike Kitchen. I don't know if anyone here has heard of them. Really, really cool like community workshop. It's open to all. You should come in, pay for like an hour or more, and then you should learn to fix your bike along with volunteers there. But the London Bike Kitchen, they do a Women in Gender variant night, and I started going along to it. It's like twice a month. Started learning more about the bike, about the different components, how they work together, and so on. And then I felt way more confident to be able to like set off on my trip. And then came February 2018. I set off from Herefordshire, where my friend lived. So I actually started the trip with a friend. We did have a couple of fallout, which happens when you're spending 24/7 with someone. But then she decided, oh, and I don't want to cycle so much anymore, I want to ride. So she settled in, we separated in Italy, and then she settled down and like started writing blogs, and she actually works for Commute now, so she's still in the cycling world, but a lot more casual. My aim initially was just to get out of Europe, so to reach Turkey and then beyond. I didn't really have a set plan in place, so I was just like, I'll just see what happens. And yeah, I got to Turkey and like completely elated and like really proud of myself. And then I just kept going, got through to Georgia, and then from Georgia into Azerbaijan, and then from Azerbaijan across the Caspian Sea. Like I wish I could say that I rode the bike everywhere, but there's big bodies of water, so yeah, could get pedalo, but so yeah, and then I cycled across the Kazakh steppe, so I went into Kazakhstan and then did Morbistan, so like Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, then back to Kazakhstan, and then into China. At that point it was December, so it was like minus degrees, like ridiculous. It was like minus 20 and below. So at that point I was like, right, I'm not going to be silly, I don't have winter tyres, I'm not going to put like chains on the tyres and so on. So I just got a bus. So I got a bus part of the way into China, and then took a train to Beijing. And yeah, and then from there a train down to like Guangdong province, which is like southern China, and then cycled into Hong Kong, and then cycled around Hong Kong a bit, came home for the Christmas break, and then went back, and then cycled more around Hong Kong, and then back into the mainland of China, and then from there, because for the first and hopefully last time in my life, I missed the plane from Hong Kong. I was in the airport and I was just distracted looking for a present for a friend, and then I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh no, what's the time? I went to the gate, but they just closed the gate and we're going. So that depleted quite a lot of my funds, because it meant like all my flights, like I couldn't board any more flights. It was just, you had to take it or not. So because of the money being quite low, I was like, right, what am I going to do next? Do I just go and use the rest of it in Southeast Asia, or do I fly to Australia where I can get a working holiday visa and work and cycle and so on? So that's what I did. Flew over to Perth, and then from Perth went up to Darwin, and then down the middle to Alice Springs, worked on a farm near there in the outback, really remote, and then contrast of temperature to the high 40s, so going from like minus 20 to high 40s, and then from there, because I left in the middle of the summer, I did ride like the first 100k out of Alice, and then everyone was like, you're mad. Like I got to the first road house and they were like, you're mad, you can't ride the next like 300-400 kilometres to the next road house, it's like deadly out there, to get a lift. So I got a lift, and then got to Adelaide, went across to Melbourne, and then crossed into Tasmania, and then went around Tasmania, and then the pandemic hit. So I've been on the road for 2 years at this point. Pandemic hit, and then had a bit of a palaver getting home, but I made it back.
Can I just clarify, when you said you like went through the like middle bit of Australia, is that like mostly desert? Like, what did you do about water and like?
So at that point I was carrying up to about 18-19 litres on my bike at times. So yeah, the highest amount of weight on the bike was about equal to my body weight, so it's about 60-65 kilos on there, and then just doing like 140 kilometre a day every day. But yeah, I've got to say, I noticed on one of the question sheets, so you're standing behind it, where it was saying, like, where can your bike take you? And I was really happy to see that most people were like anywhere and everywhere and like to exciting places. And it goes to show that you can do that, and on not that much money as well. So my bike cost about £500, and then made some changes to it, and then yeah, the whole trip, if people want to know, it's about £6,000 in total, and that's spent on food, flights, like buses, accommodation sometimes. So most people might be wondering where I stayed for quite a long trip. So in Europe I stayed with like people from a website called Warm Showers. So it's very similar to couch surfing, but only for cyclists. So you meet a lot of like-minded people who are willing to help you, or they've done trips themselves and they know how much it means to someone to have a place to crash and a warm shower, hopefully. I mean, I've had to shower with a hose. So, fine.
Would you be alright to take questions?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of people might have questions. Thank you so much for giving that speak. It's so inspiring to hear that. I'm still taking it in. Does anyone want to ask Hayley anything? Stacey?
What's next? You've done quite a lot.
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, with Steele Collective, we do a lot of bike packing, so I look forward to doing those. I also do a little bit of like track riding and fixed gear criterium, which is on a track bike without brakes, but going around a closed circuit with lots of tight corners and things. So I'm like an amateur athlete, I don't take it seriously, I just do it for fun. I'm also part of another club called Velocity Posse, who are more about like really inclusive riding, as well as DT. But they have quite a bit more of a serious focus on racing as well. So I help out with the club, so I'm bike officer for Velociposse, because I'm now a bike mechanic. I've come back and I was like, I want to work in the bike industry, so that's what I do. And then with Steezy, I'm the fixed gear rep, and yeah, I generally just help out, like looking after the bike, taking newbies out on like intro ride and things like that.
Sure. Does somebody else want to go first? Oh, I've got a question, which is, I know, you know, Lily's mentioned Steezy Collective and I follow you on Instagram, but I haven't quite understood what it is or where it is or how it is, like who can access it and how does it happen?
Collective.
Yeah, Steezy Collective.
So the collective was founded by 3 of our friends, Kitty, Alice and Taylor. You'll find them on the website. So they got together, I think it was like autumn 2020, and they were like, they wanted to have a group where it was really inclusive but laid back and anyone can come along, and there's something for everyone. So we're open to all styles of riding, so like mountain biking, road riding, bike packing, all sorts. So most of it's online because a lot of the members are spread out across the country. There's no like entry barriers. You can just be like, hey, I'm interested, and then come along. I do have to point out it is for women, non-binary and trans people only, so unfortunately cis men can't come, but you can always support us.
I think as well Steezy was quite important in setting this up, in that it connects you to so many people in the cycling world as well. So one of the other Steezy members, Mildred, writes for like cycling magazines, and she wrote a letter of recommendation to Park Tool, who then gave us all of these tools. So like it kind of brings lots of women and non-binary people who are cycling together, and together you can do more. Yeah. Other questions?
What's the most kilometres in one day? It was a bit over 170 kilometres. So well, the next goal is going to be 200, and then we'll see.
Yeah, on your amazing trip, how did you find that people responded to a cyclist?
Okay, so in Europe, it changed throughout the trip. In Europe, people are aware of cycling and cycle touring, so they don't really bat an eye. They're just like, yeah, cyclist. Or they're like, bloody cyclist, get out of the way. That's familiar. But as you get towards like Eastern Europe and into Central Asia, people are just puzzled to why you're on a bike. They're like, surely you can get a moped, scooter, and ride on a boat. Why are you using your body to move? And then in China, people were like completely dumbfounded, and because I was like in rural areas in China, and some of them may not have seen a white woman or so a white woman, let alone a white woman on a bike by herself, cycling through. So I literally have people see me and just go, and then like run and tell people so they all come out. And if I stopped at a shop, I'd leave my bike outside. Normally don't lock it up, like no one's gonna try and push a 60 kilo bike. But people would start gathering around, especially when there were school kids about. They start coming along, like playing, poking about. So yeah, people were really curious. I have to say, on the whole, people are so kind. Like wherever you go, most people are willing to help. Like 99% of people are super lovely. Probably higher than that, but yeah. I know that some people have asked me like, "Oh, have you had any bad interactions?" And it's like, yeah, but I've used my common sense. If something felt off, I just get on my bike and leave. But luckily there weren't many occasions where I felt unsafe. Because I think a lot of people were like, oh, she's by herself, she must be nuts, so let's not.
Christy?
Yeah, it's a practical question. How do you organise visas?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in Europe, so luckily in 2018 we were still part of the EU, so even though there was some resistance in France, not upon entering, but at like chateaus, so going to visit castles, there might be resistance from the staff there because they were like, you're not in the EU anymore. It's like, we don't leave yet. Because it's just about pricing for the tickets to get in. So yeah, Europe was generally really easy and so on. I think the first like proper visa that I had to fill out was Azerbaijan. And in Azerbaijan I had to fill it out online, and it's quite an old website. You should navigate your way around it, upload the documents needed and so on. China was an interesting one because they had 5 to 6 page double-sided application to get a visa, and you also had to go to the Chinese embassy. So I did that in Georgia, in Tbilisi, and like filled out this huge like document, and I had to list everywhere I was going. So a lot of like cycle tourists, we just lie and we say that we're going to get this train from here to here and so on, because they're not so keen on people cycling and just camping in the middle of nowhere.
Kath, did you have your hand up earlier?
It's very similar.
Which place stands out for you? Not just like people, but also scenery. Where did you wake up in? That's the place that you don't forget.
2 top places were Montenegro and Bulgaria. They were absolutely gorgeous, really hilly, like full of greenery, absolutely beautiful. Another highlight was in Tajikistan. I went to Iskandar Lake, which is just outside of Dushanbe, which is the capital, and went up, I think it was about 1,200 metres up, and there's a lake which is surrounded by mountains, and it's absolutely like stunning. And I was there, I think it was about late October. I was there, so it was really quiet. The campground that's there was deserted. I had the whole place to myself, and like put my tent on the little beach area, and it was really gorgeous.
I think we've probably got time for one more question. If that's all right.
Well, I kind of had 2. What kind of bike did you use?
That's a very good question. I had a Steele bike. The reason being that you can repair steel nearly anywhere in the world. If you can find a welder, they can repair it for you. Aluminium is a bad choice because it's very hard to repair aluminium, and then carbon, if you break it, there's not many places outside of Europe where you can get it repaired without like costly fees, like sending it back and so on. So steel is the best one. Something did happen to me in China where some of the bolts on the back of the dropout, they actually came off from the frame, and I was going downhill, but luckily I had a camera wrapped around the seat post, so my pannier rack was attached to these bolts and the like eyelets on the bike, and because the eyelets popped out, the whole pannier rack was falling backwards, but I was saved by the camera strap that I had wrapped around the seat post. But I went into like a local garage and they welded a fix for it, and then I also put more band around the seat post.
Terrifying. Wow. I feel like everyone's got loads more questions as well. So if you are sticking around, maybe people could come find you after, if that's all right, because we've got one more speaker as well. But big thank you, Hayley. She's also printed out these maps which show all the rides that we've ever done as well, which is exciting. But she's going to talk about the cycling journey as well.
Yeah, I think this should work. It might work on YouTube, so yeah. Oh, you need to press enter. Cool. Hello. I'm Kel. I'm Kel. I use Instagram quite a lot to talk about my life, I guess. Sorry, you have to keep pressing enter into the. So to start off, I ride for a group called the Women in Steele mountain bike group in the Peak District. This is us here. I've done some really silly adventures like pack rafting. I love bikepacking. I love going around Europe with my husband on the bottom corner there, and I also ride with my dog, Belle. She's very cool. If you click please, Alex, thank you. I'm also a mum, and this is like quite an old photo, but this is my son Atlas, and this is my dog, Belle. We all ride together now, and yeah. If you click please, Alex. This is going to be really annoying if I'm doing this, isn't it? So I'm going to talk to you about my greatest venture yet, which was bikepacking with my son Atlas. Click please, Alex. Research. I had my son January last year. I got grounded with a C-section, which wasn't planned, it was emergency. And it meant I had like loads of time, as well as like learning to be a mum and stuff. I had loads of time to sort of sit and think about what I wanted to do with my son and bikes after I had recovered from my C-section. And so I started, so I love riding my bike, I love riding with my dog, I love bikepacking. So I thought, is it possible to go bikepacking with your baby? I did lots of research. I actually really struggled to find anything about bikepacking with a baby. So I had to do my own. Yes, if you click please. Why can't I find anything about bikepacking with a baby? I think it's just like pregnancy and cycling. There's not much there. Having a baby and that like getting back into cycling, there's not much there. Bikepacking with a baby, there's not much there because for everyone it's different, and I think that's like it's hard to tell your story because we can tell your story, but you can't really recommend any route or anything because it's just so different for every single person that has a baby, which I've learned after. If you click this. So for me, I had a pram and I had a baby and I did some research, but my biggest ever thing that I researched whilst I was a baby was a trailer. So like how to transport my baby on a bikepacking trip. There's like 1 million trailers out there in the market, and I know that like I needed a trailer with suspension, I needed one that was waterproof, I needed one with storage, and I settled on this Burley one, which is actually awesome. It wasn't cheap, I used quite a lot of my savings for it, which is a bit annoying, but I went for Burley. If you click please, Alex. I get asked like quite a lot, like when's good to go riding with your baby. I can't tell you when you should ride with your baby, but there's this thing called a baby snuggler that you can fit into trailers, which is absolutely incredible. Because it makes this little hammock thing for them, and it's super snuggly, it gives that extra protection. So I'm not going to tell you when you should, if you ever want to ride with a baby, I'm not going to tell you when to do it. But a baby snuggler means you can ride from, I think I took Atlas when you can sit up, hold his own, you can sit up. So that's his baby snuggler. Please. Kit list. Okay, so before everything, I got a trailer first, and then I figured out that I needed to do like a kit list for my baby. When you have a kid, you leave the house with like everything on the kitchen sink at the beginning. You do, well, I did anyway. So this was my kit list for Atlas. It was quite big. Some things like D4. That's his like duck that he has. It's called a D4 duck. D4. And that was really important, otherwise he wasn't going to sleep without it.
I like the first thing on the list.
Yeah, me too. I'll take him. Quite important. Do you know what's really annoying about this list actually? Wipes. I didn't take any wipes. I couldn't believe it. It's when I got to my spot, and I'll tell you this, but my husband had to go and like go on a bike ride and buy some baby wipes once we actually got to the camp spot. Anyway, if you click please. This is my kit grid, right? I don't know if anyone's seen those really cool kit grids. You've got your bike, your bits, and your camp gear. I was like, I'm going to do a baby kit grid. This is my son with his little backpack on. Didn't make him carry that the whole way. That's the kit grid. Click please. Okay, route planning. So for me, my essentials were, route plan distance. Like how far am I going to go with my baby? With him, it depended a lot on his mood, how far he'd like be happy to sit in his trailer, just like being in the car. He gets bored after he's had a nap. No gates because of the trailer, or gates, but gates that were easy to open. Mellow terrain. I didn't want him like bumping around everywhere in the trailer and having a bad time. Cycleways, fantastic. Minimal climbs, so I'm not a big fan of climbing, especially not with a trailer attached.
Roads. I was really scared to ride on a road with a trailer. Yeah, for loads of reasons. And the cafe stuff, because everyone loves cake, right? So cut these. I thought, well, I forgot to say I'm a community manager for Commute, so I do a lot of route planning. I use Commute to plan my ride. It's really cool because of the elevation profile, way types and surfaces, so it was really easy to plan on Commute because I could really get into the mapping of it and, yeah, look for the best route for me. I love this elevation profile, that's my kind of elevation profile. Pretty much all downhill. Please. Weather, so like there's all the things to put into factor of going backpacking with your baby, but weather turned out was the biggest thing. So I planned this bikepacking trip 3 times. First time it was pouring down with rain and I was like, this is not going to be enjoyable for anybody. Second, it was too hot, so I thought of putting them in a trailer and just like cooking in there wasn't cool. So yeah, third time lucky, we actually managed a day which was warm, wasn't raining, and we waited till quite late in the evening, so it was a bit cooler. Yeah, so weather played a massive factor. Low expectations. I've been on loads of really nice epic bikepacking trips, and I kind of thought in my head that I would be doing similar mileage to some of them, maybe with baby. No, absolutely not. So like I planned like this really cool ride. I think the first ride I planned was like 50k with him. I'm so stupid. So like actually when I had him and I was like learned to be a mum, and I figured out that was ridiculous. I would not be going 50k with him. So yeah, lowering my expectations was quite a big thing, and like also not whatever anyone's epic is on bikepacking. I made it as epic as possible, which is literally, even if I like made it from my drive to my next door neighbour's garden and cat that's there, that was epic enough, you know, like it was, yeah. So if you click these, that was my bikepacking trip. So it was 40 minutes, 6 gorgeous and 7k. Look at that descending, that's amazing, isn't it? But that was our first ever bikepacking trip. Stats there for you. So yeah, it was perfect. He was 6 months at the time, so it was really good. And like 40 minutes was like when he was 6 months old, if he wasn't sleeping and he was awake in a car or trailer or anything, that was like 40 minutes of I'm bored after that. So it was a good time for us. Yeah, would you click please? Yeah, smiles at miles. So just to reiterate, if you ever do want to go backpacking with children, it's not about distance, it's about how fun it is, and yeah. That was actually on the trip. And Belle, there she is. So camp spot, yeah, there's loads of amazing campsites everywhere. I'm really lucky to have some friends with some land, and I love wild camping, so a friend of mine said that I could camp in his like woodland. So camp spot, if you click please. Here it is. It was quite cool. There's a fire pit, and yeah, that's where we camped. I should have took more photos of where we camped really, but it was literally just like woods and then a little spot in the middle. I didn't bring firewood with me, but he left it there for us, which is really nice. If you click please. Plot twist. Okay, if you click please. I took my dog bikepacking. Yeah, she absolutely hated it. So like I had like all this background of like how to make it enjoyable for my son, and oh yeah, and my husband came as well. Like you haven't mentioned him. He didn't want to go. Just dragging out. That was absolutely mental. And every time like it was bad weather, we'd planned to go bikepacking. He was like, oh damn, we can't go bikepacking. Anyway, so yeah, husband prepped, baby prepped. My dog Belle comes everywhere with me on my bike within like reason of like I don't take her too far riding, but she's never been an issue. But actually, she absolutely hated it. She loved the ride, but once she got to the campsite, she didn't know what to do with herself. She hated the tent. She hated everything. If you click please, she was like, there she is, look, hiding on me. She was just like there, like oh, when we're going home, this is so rubbish. And my son's like, at the time of his life, my dog actually hated it. So that was quite funny. If you click please. But she didn't pose for a photo, so I'll give her that. But I'm honestly never taking her backpacking again. There's nothing I can pull her into it. All night she was on edge in a tent light. Yeah. If you click please. Oh, it's a video. It might not work, but it's if you escape the top left.
Yeah, I just wondered if I could complete it up.
And then if you go on to Safari. Sorry everyone.
pause there, and then play.
Might be too quiet actually, because I haven't got speakers.
There we go.
Who are you? What we're doing?
I'm Kelly, and you're Aiken, and we're going on our first ever bike practice with Baby Alex.
How did you choose this route?
So I chose the easiest route for the first ever bike practice trip. Pretty much no elevation. And yeah, it's been really nice and easy. Super scenic.
And trailer friendly.
And trailer friendly.
Yeah, because
Tick, tick, tick.
gates.
Money out there to use as well.
You're so young.
How many times did you wake up? One? Good job.
Now look at I'm like, how did I take it back and then that's mental?
Such a good job.
What if there was a phone that could see?
Oh God!
Oh, Kelly, that was so magic. Thank you.
Pockets of sex.
So that brings us to the end of all of our speakers. So massive thank you to everyone for coming along. We're going to be hanging around for another hour. So please do chat to everyone. And we've also, if Rachel hasn't hounded you already with post-it notes, then grab a post-it note and please do write answers to the questions on the walls. That's really going to help us plan what we want to do next, and we really want your input in that as well. So yeah, enjoy some more coffee, cake, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.